Welcome everybody, my name is the 11719 and today I'm going to be doing another haunted gaming. This time on one related to Morrowind. It's named jvk1166z.esp. So obviously it's a mod for it. And just like a lot other just like a lot of other videos I've done, this one I think this one actually exists, so if I could find a link for it and you happen to own Morrowind, links in the description. Anyways, some people might recall the momentary buzz caused a couple years ago by a particularly odd Morrowind mod. The file was named jvk1166z. It was never posted on any of the larger Elder Scrolls communities, usually just smaller boards and role-playing groups. I know in a few cases, rather than being posted, it was sent via PM or email to a chosen few. It was only a few days to the best of my knowledge. It caused a buzz because it was a virus, or it seemed to be. If you tried to load the game with the mod active, it would hang at an initial load screen for a full hour, and then crash the desktop. If you let it get that far, your install of Morrowind, along with any save files you had, would be completely corrupted. Nobody could figure out what the mod was trying to do, since it couldn't be opened in the construction set. Eventually, warnings were distributed not to use it if you found it, and things died down. About a year later, in a mod board I used to frequent, someone popped up with the mod again. He said he was PM'd by a lurker who deleted his account immediately after sending. He also said the person advised him to try playing the mod through DOSBox. For some reason, this worked. Sort of. The game was a bit laggy, and you couldn't get into options, load game, the console, or really anything else, other than the game itself. The quick save and the quick load buttons did work, but that was it. The quick save file seemed to be just part of the game file, so you couldn't get it at it anymore. Some speculated that the changed game used an older graphics renderer, making DOSBox necessary, but it didn't look any different. The part I can speak about from personal experience is when you start a new game in JVK. Once you left the starting bit in the census office and came into the game proper, the first thing you notice is that the prophecy has been severed box pops up. This is because every single NPC having to do with the main quest is dead, with the sole exception of Yagrum Bagarn, the last of the Dwemer. Their corpses never despawn, so you can go check on all of them. You begin in a world that is doomed to start with. The second thing you noticed is that you're losing health. It's only a little bit, but it keeps happening. A little bit at a time. The longer you stay in one place, the quicker it seems to occur. If you let this health loss kill you, you'll find the cause. A figure we came to call the Assassin, as he seems to wear a retextured version of the Dark Brotherhood armor from Tribunal. Even though the expansion doesn't work in JVK, it's all black, completely untextured, like he's just a hole in space. The way he moves, he gave me quite a start. The first time I saw him scuttling around my dead body, he crawls inhumanely on his hands and feet, his arms and legs splayed out like a spider. You'd usually only see him after death, crawling around and over your body. But just before the reload box popped up, occasionally you could catch a glimpse of him darting around a corner or crawling on a wall or ceiling. It made the game very difficult to play at night. Other than that, the only noticeable difference is that at night, at random intervals, every NPC in the game would go outside for a few minutes during this time. The only thing that they would say when hailed is, "Watch the sky." Once they return to their normal behavior, they act like normal. After a while, a player on a board discovered a new NPC named Tiras, a male Dunmer, in the Temple of Ghostgate. Two things that are notable about this NPC. First is his robe, a unique article of clothing that is lovingly rendered with twinkling stars all across it, looking like a torn off chunk of the night sky. The second is that all of his dialogue, in addition to showing up in the dialogue box, is voiced. You can skip it if you wish, but all it sounds like is a default male Dunmer voice. Some people said that they thought the voice was slightly different, but it was very, very good imitation. I won't go into details, but the quest line he sends you on has you to do a dungeon referred to simply as the entrance. Oh wait, yeah, the Citadel. Up until this point, the quests were all fairly generic. Discover the secrets of the ancients bent. The entrance to this dungeon is on a small island far west of Morrowind. I eventually discovered that if you use the scroll of Icaran Flight at the westernmost point on the main landmass and jump directly west, you'd end up almost exactly at that island. Even though the dungeon is called the Citadel, it goes straight down. It dwarfs any other dungeon, both in size and difficulty. From a natural cave area, you'll proceed down into an ancestral tomb-looking area, then a Daedric rune area, then a Dwemer rune area. I made it down to the Dwemer runes before I quit. The creatures here were strong enough that a level 20 character would have to take care. Since you can't use the console in JVK, level 20 took a while to get to. Since quick save and quick load are your only options, it's all too easy to get yourself into an impossible situation. I did, and I just didn't have the energy to start over. Now what I'm telling you is based on those few who went further reported. Past the Dwemer ruins, you find yourself in a level like Dwemer ruins, but darker. Rather than the usual bronze, all the surfaces, including those of the creatures, are black. The sounds of machinery are loud here and grow louder still, randomly. There's also steam or fog everywhere, limiting your vision to about 10 in-game feet or so. If you can make it through all this, you'll reach a hall, those found to call it the portrait room. Like the fire and torches or other effects from early 3D games, the room has picture frames that always face directly at you, no matter how you look at them. The images of the frames are always randomly chosen images from your pictures folder. On the board, the ones who got there and had some fun posting screenshots of the portrait room, various pictures in the frame, usually porn, of course. See, that's what I thought. I figured if it takes from your pictures, I'm pretty sure some people are gonna have a pretty funny time walking through that hallway. At the end of the hall was a locked door. After admitting defeat and returning to Tiraz, everyone just found him saying, "Watch the sky," in a gravelly voice. What's more, nobody else in the game would say anything. There was just complete blank dialogue, with no options at all. They wouldn't even rattle off the visual canned audible greetings. The only exception was at night. Whether they go out for a few minutes, they'd still repeat it, "Watch the sky." At this point, one of the players noticed that the night sky was no longer the usual night sky of Tamriel, and it changed to a depiction of a real night sky, and it moved. From this point on, everything based on what this one person reported, eventually he got himself kicked from the board. But I kept in contact with him for as long as he responded. According to him, based on the constellations and planets, the skies started around February 2005. If you died, loaded, or went back into the Citadel, it would start over. When the usual day sky graphics took over, the movement would be suspended until the stars appeared again. In the space of a single night, everything would move to about 2 months' worth. Since the time scale of JVK was more than less of that of a standard game, that meant that a bit less than an hour was equal to 24-hour periods. He became convinced that the door would open on some kind of celestial event. Of course, waiting for that meant leaving the game running, and of course that meant that the game couldn't be left unattended. Thanks to our old friend the assassin, my friend decided he'd hang out for a whole day just to see if anything happened. That'd be about a year's worth of movement. Here's the post he made. I loaded in Season Need, where it all starts. It wasn't too bad, just had to check in now and then. To move around and heal to make sure I wasn't dying. But check it out, 24 hours exactly in, and the assassin learned a new trick. He screams! I was reading, and all of a sudden this crazy loud shriek just about made me crap myself. It's like something out of a horror movie. I looked up, and there he is, just crouched down right in front of me. Of course, the second I moved my character, he ran off. When I went back down to the portrait room, the door was still locked. God damn it. A bit later, he came to the decision that he was needed to wait 3 days, 3 years. The PM advising us to try DOSBox showed up in February of 2008 was his reasoning. Anyway, after the first shriek, the assassin stops hitting you out of nowhere. Now he'll shriek, and if you don't move for a few seconds after he hits you, I think whoever made this mod was trying to help. At night, I've got my headphones on and I was just dozing off. When he wakes me up with a shriek, I jiggle the mouse and I'm good. The post was 2 days in from his laptop once it was over. He was so fucking done. He waited 3 days, and right after the fucking assassin made him jiggle the mouse, he shrieks again. So I look and everybody in the town is outside saying, "Watch the fucking sky." I don't see anything though. But then the game starts getting dark. Like really dark. I turn up the brightness all the way up on my monitor and I can still barely see. I can see other people in the game. Little figures running around in the distance. Just running back and forth. If I try to get close, they run off. I was trying to sleep and the lights were off. This is kind of creepy. After that, 2 things happened. First, another of the people who got in the porch room claimed that the assassin was showing up in his regular Morrowind game. If you reinstalled Morrowind to a different folder, you could have a normal Morrowind installed though, along with JVK. He himself chalked it up to an overreactive imagination at first, but he reported a couple of really big scares with the black figure crawling right at him, or seeing it waiting for him just around the corner before scuttling off. Another of those who reached the porch room started a regular Morrow game but never saw him for sure. It was just a couple of maybes. Late at night and always at a distance. The second that my friend started getting really abusive and short-tempered on the board, no, he stopped talking about JVK entirely. It got so bad that he was soon kicked off. And we didn't hear anything from him for a couple weeks. So I sent an email, and this was part of his reply. I know I shouldn't, but with classes out, I've got some time, so I started JVK again. It's almost 2011. I think I've got the sleep madness. But stuff is happening. It's still dark. Once it gets dark, it never gets any lighter. It stays like that. The people who moved a few months ago, everybody in the scene seems to just want a little bandit cave, just went to that little bandit cave and moved in. They killed the bandits inside, and now they're just standing around inside. They don't say anything anymore. They don't do anything anymore when you click them. I quick saved and killed one, and he just stood there until he died without fighting back. And it's like that everywhere. You have to walk since the quick travel people are in caves now too, but all the cities and towns are just deserted. All the people are in caves and tombs. Everyone in Vivreg is down in the sewers. I'm going to Ghost Gate next. I want to see if Tiraz is still there. I'll tell you what he says when I get there. I know I should. Oh wait. And it's. I replied and I said I wanted to see what he said too, and waited a day. When I didn't get a reply, I mailed him again. In a couple hours, he sent back. Sorry, I totally forgot. It's 2014 now. Since it's always night, the stars are always moving. The whole screen is dark, but you can still see the brightest stars moving around. Tiras was gone. Everyone in Ghost Gate was gone. I don't know where they went. They're not in any of the nearby caves, but there's new stuff. People still don't say anything, but their eyes are bleeding. It's so dark that even with the light spell, you have to get right up against them to see them. But there they are. The dark streaks coming down from their eyes. I think I gotta be getting close. I know this is stupid, but there's no way to pay off. It's going to be worth it. I just want to know. I just want to be able to say I stuck it out. I got that one during the day. Later that night, I got a follow-up email. Some of the planets aren't moving right. It's pissing me off. If it keeps up, I won't be able to keep track anymore. It's almost 2015 now, I think. Fuck. You know, I just noticed that there aren't any monsters anymore either. I'm completely alone outside now. The main quest people's bodies are still lying around though. I went to check on them. I don't need headphones anymore, so I just leave them off. When he shrieks, it's like he's screaming right into my ear. I think I even kind of have to anticipate it. He's around a lot more now, a lot closer. He's different from other people who started showing up, remember? They keep running around just where I can barely see them. I have to admit it. It's kind of creepy at night. Sometimes when I go to the bathroom or whatever, I swear I can see something right out of the corner of my eye. I'm keeping the lights on now. I sent him a letter jokingly telling him to get some real sleep and left it at that. 2 mornings later, I found this in my email. It was the last thing I got from him. After this, he stopped responding completely. I just got up from a fucked up dream. I think the assassin shrieked at me, and when I opened my eyes, he was right there, crouching over me. His arms and legs were longer and more like a spider's. I tried to push him away, but then I touched my hands, just went inside. I couldn't get loose again, like he was made of tar or something. Then I woke up. I thought he was gone, but I looked at the monitor. I wasn't where I was. I was in Corprosa. I can't pronounce that. Corprusarium with Yagrum. For once, the light was okay, and I could see him, all bloated on the mechanical spider legs. I sat down on the computer and he started talking to me. Not in a box, but really talking to me in tear-ass voice. He knew things about me. He told me things that I never told anyone. Some things I totally forgot about. He told me that almost nobody had made it this far, and that the door would open soon. I just had to hang on a little while longer. He said that I'd know when it was time. He said I might be the first to see what was inside. And then I woke up for real, but I was at the computer. I still wasn't where I was. I'm swimming out on Citadel Island. And I could hear this tapping. It's at my window. It's over to on the left. So I'm sending you this because I left my laptop on my bed to the right. Just a little tappa. Like he's knocking his fingers against the glass. I might still be dreaming now. I guess well, okay, yeah. Well, that's the end of the story, everybody. So, apparently, well, I don't know if you want to play that, JVK. I mean, it sounds like it would take a whole long time just to get to the creepypasta part of that, but I know I'd certainly like to know what's behind that damn door. And if hopefully I can find some gameplay to edit into this as well. Anyways, that was Haunted Gaming for the Marwin mod JVK. And if it's possible, it may be in the description to download. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe.